Kerbals who explore in peace are supposed to be left in peace. We did exactly that. However, things have gone wrong. Mistakes were made as mission control, which led to the demise of the Duna mission. Now, it's up to us astronauts to sort stuff out.
Sitting serenely in orbit, the damned lander of the Duna mission, as you will see in the last episode, link is in the description, is currently sitting in a retrograde orbit relative to the command module that it originally came from. Welcome back to KSP Missions, and as you can probably tell by now, we are in a little bit of a predicament, shall we say, in that we are in a retrograde orbit relative to our command module, as I just said. And I said in the last episode that I had a plan to stop this, and you can see me doing that here. Basically, I am thrusting my apoapsis up to a very high inclination, and then basically just stopping myself and reversing my orbital velocity. This is a very good technique because you are obviously travelling slowest at apoaps, so if you have your apoaps out to a higher plane, you are travelling a much slower, and so you can basically just stop yourself in orbit, and you can see, as you can see here, we are now on the correct trajectory. So we're actually going in the same direction as our command module, so we have our Kerbals relatively safe. The downside to this is, however, that we have burnt pretty much all the fuel in our lander. You can see me here trying to make as efficient a burn as possible to actually get an encounter with our command module, so to speak, and eventually I just think it's too much to take, and so I end up using the command module and transfer stage to actually get our encounter. Now, this isn't so much of a problem because at this point the transfer stage and command module have an absolute ton of fuel in it, so we're going to skew our orbit, we're going to correct our inclination, and we're going to be able to perform this rendezvous just fine with a bit of time warp. The problem with this comes when we need to get home. I started to get concerned as soon as I'd finished this burn about just how much fuel we would actually have in order to return back to Kerbin. You can probably see what I'm on about now. Eventually you can see though we're getting our coplanar, so at least the Kerbals will be together when they die rather than separated and scared and cold and alone and all depressive. And I had to check if I was still recording then because I totally forgot that I might have not actually recorded it. That'd be something really nice for OBS to add to a little thing saying that when you're recording or not. But you can see here we're coming up on approach to our target. We are, I think, about 12 kilometers away, so we're just going to kill our orbital velocity relative to, and we're going to move in on the target. I decide that using the transfer stage with its nuclear engine and everything is just too slow, so I'm going to burn the last of the fuel in this lander to actually get us going in the right direction, and I'm going to burn very, very, very carefully to burn those last few inches of fuel out, and then we're going to switch to using the RCS of the lander here so that we can actually dock with the damn thing. So we're going to quickly get ourselves inclined onto the target, and then it's basically just a matter of using the RCS to guide ourselves back to the Duna mission module. Now, this mission has had I think I put far too much RCS onto all of the RCS fuel, should I say, onto both the lander and the command module stage, because I basically had like 3 full tanks. I only used, even in this rather long and lengthy docking procedure, I only used about 150 to 200 units of RCS fuel, and I had about 3 to 800, anywhere between 3 and 800 units total on this mission. But you can see here we have successfully rendezvoused with the transfer stage. Now it's just a matter of docking back onto that command module and transferring the triumphant astronauts Jebediah and Bill back into the command module ready for the journey home. Now, the journey home took a long time, and several reloads because I really didn't know what I was doing, bearing in mind that I've never actually returned from an interplanetary mission before. And you can see old me getting really excited if you can hear him squawking away in the background, because I successfully managed to get this mission. So we quick save, we transfer across, and now it's basically a matter of fuel rebalancing and contingency ditching, I think is the right thing. You can see I'm getting rid of any excess RCS fuel that I can into these balls of RCS on the lander, because I just don't want any extra RCS lying around. So without further ado, we jettison the lander. It has been good to us, but it shall remain in orbit around Duna indefinitely. Now, I cut out a load of balancing of the fuel relative with the RCS, but this is where we start to go home. And you can see we have just under a full tank of fuel left. This isn't the actual trajectory that we actually started taking. I decided that I initially, which is what you're watching now, that I did not want to start off and wait for the planets to align, because I was waiting and I didn't want... I was being impatient and I didn't want to wait for the correct phase angle. We do a little bit of time warping, but honestly not that much. Plus I made an error even with ksp.olex.biz. And basically the next few minutes is just maneuver node planning. You can see me trying to plan a route into deep space here to get back to Kerbin. It was a lot harder than I was expecting, bearing in mind that we are in a polar orbit. That was probably not a good idea on my part, because it does leave us very inclined, but eventually this is the best encounter I managed to get. Leaves us on this highly inclined orbit into the solar system, which isn't very good if you ask me. And you can see me checking ksp.olex.biz here, but we're going to try a bit more time warping, because that attempt didn't really work. We're going to try a bit more time warping. I of course forget that Kerbin, as it is nearer to the sun than Duna, is travelling faster. And so you can see, I thought that because I got the angle correct between Kerbin and Duna, that I'd be able to get an encounter no problem. But no, I forgot that it is minus 75 degrees rather than plus 75 degrees like I thought it was. So yeah, I decided to just burn anyway and get straight into interplanetary space, and I'll make course corrections after. This is when I start to realise that we may not have enough fuel. Yeah, this could end up getting messy. But you can see we eventually do get into interplanetary space, and I think that a course correction could be in order. Yeah, this first sort of mission sort of thing didn't actually go to plan, the whole mission probably would have failed had it not been for a certain event which wasn't of my planning to happen within the next few moments. So you can see we leave Duna behind, the wretched red planet, as I believe I called it at the end of last episode. This is the first Kerbal Space Program episode, by the way, that I am filming with my new microphone. I hope you do like it. If you didn't see my Battlefield video, it is a ProSound microphone, and while I'm doing these course corrections, I will quickly explain to you about it. It was £40 from Maplins in the UK, and it's amazing, and I love it. And it's about half the price of a blue snowball or a blue Yeti, and it's pretty good. And you can see that it has a much clearer quality than my last one. But you can see here that we're going to do we're going to just bring ourselves down here and get this close encounter, thinking that I'd be able to do course corrections, when really something awful was about to happen when I time accelerated to the space center. Shit. What's happened? Oh no. Oh no. This can't happen now. This can't happen now, guys. Why? No. Shit. Shit. No. This can't be. Right, I'm gonna see if I can close the game down and see if this will work. This is the moment of truth, guys. Is the thing... No! No, it's not! Fuck! It's been deleted! Right, there is a thing to do. It's okay, it's okay. I've got an idea. I've got an idea. I've got an idea, guys. But it's going to mean reverting back to something. Right, hold F9. Will it work? I really hope it fucking works. Yes! Fuck yeah! It worked! We're still at Duna, but that's okay. It means we've got time to wait for the correct transfer stage now. Yes! Oh, I'm so good. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby, indeed, old me. And with that save corruption, which I like to call the black ball glitch, don't ask why I call it that. Well, it's kind of obvious, actually. It leaves the nav ball really black, and it sets your height to weird infinite nines, as I like to say, and I think it's caused through time acceleration. I'm not sure. I thought the bug was fixed, to be honest, but whatever. I managed to restore the save to a previous configuration using the quick save feature. Thank God that that is in the game. And it gave me time to get the correct phase angle this time, because I had since realised my error. This is a lot more efficient now, which is good, because efficiency, frankly, is what we need in this mission now. With the amount of fuel that we have left, we have just over a third of an orange tank left, total. In the entire thing. You can see I actually resort to using RCS to give us a little bit of an extra kick out of Duna orbit, and indeed to slow us down when we get to Kerbin later. And you can see us here coming back down, and I'm basically just skipping through all of this because this burn took a really long time. Seriously, I think I grew a beard in the time it took for all these different burns to occur. Next time, I'm definitely going with a quad cluster of nuclear engines rather than a single, like, binary pair of them, because the binary pair just doesn't give enough thrust. And, to be honest, a quad probably wouldn't use all that much more fuel, to be honest, depending on what we're doing. Which I think the next mission, the next interplanetary mission anyway, will be a mission to Jool, even though the next mission will probably be to Minmus. But you can see that we do have our Kerbin encounter once we make this small course correction just out of Duna orbit. We're going home! The astronauts are heading back after, I think, just over 2 years in Kerbal orbit, on their way home back to their home planet. And because of the inclination difference of this, of these, we end up in a rather strange orbit. But you can see here just how much, if you look at our resources panel as we enter Kerbin SOI, you can see just how little fuel we actually have left. And basically what I was trying to do is see how long the burn was going to take with all of, with the nuclear engines. And I realised that we've got just enough fuel to fill up the command module tank, with a little bit left over in the orange tank. So basically I'm trying to burn those last few units in the orange tank, so that we can ditch the transfer stage and do the deorbit, or as I like to call the direct descent method, with the command module. And that's exactly what we're going to end up doing here. We undock the command module with a full tank of fuel, and we prepare to descend down to Kerbin through the direct descent method. Yes, the old favourite from the Evian base. But you can see here, we're going to start, we're going to time accelerate, and we're going to start. But guys, we have made it home. I'm going to let you watch the landing now with a little bit of music played over it. Once we finish this burn, which pretty much got rid of the last of our fuel. I judged the amount of fuel that we needed, bearing in mind that a contingency took place pretty much just right, and for that I am extremely proud. But I'm going to let you watch this video now without me saying anything, so yeah, peace out. So yes, with a successful splashdown, the 3 successful astronauts get out of their capsule, thus wrapping up my first ever return to interplanetary mission to another planet. Guys, thank you very much for subscribing. Remember to subscribe for more in the future and watch more of these missions. But until then, I've been Bradders, this has been KSP Missions, peace out. Epic zoom out shot.